With the weather mostly fine at this time of year, what better way to spend it than out in the garden? Whether you're planting new plants, tidying things up or dealing with plants that are infected with diseases, Dyax have all the knowledge that you need. We're in the middle of summer now. What sort of things should you be doing in the garden at this time of year?
Well, probably harvesting is the biggest aspect of the garden, getting the seed potatoes out, thinning out carrots, parsnips, making room for the crops to be planted for the autumn and maturity. Things like cabbage, collie, broccoli, they all get planted now and they mature over the winter.
How do you go about planting those sorts of vegetables?
You just buy your plants from Dyax, seedlings already grown, 6 packs. We usually sell people mixtures, cabbage, collie, broccoli, seems to be quite popular, 2 plants of each, maturing at different times, and they just go in the ground. Probably the biggest problem is bugs at this time of year. We all see the white butterfly about and we get a few problems there with caterpillars, but usually we can combat those. But another problem the brassicas have is clubroot. That's the root system really balls up and the plant goes all limp. The best way to control that is Condy's crystals, or there is a thing called Rootmate, which is a natural native trichoderma. It makes a coating around the roots and helps establish the plant without them catching the bugs.
What are the best ways of dealing with those sorts of bugs?
We're quite strong believers in organics. We really like the neem tree granules, they're really good. When I was in Australia I saw a neem tree growing and it didn't have a bug on it and it was surrounded by other fruit trees full of bugs, so that convinced me that that's a good way to go. Also there's Success is another good one, it's a naturalite. None of them have withholding periods, so they're quite safe to use.
When you're dealing with vegetables in the garden, is it best to use organic things so you're not putting chemicals on them which may be eaten later?
I believe so, yes. If you start using really bad sprays and that, you end up with them in your own blood system, but I'd stick with the organics because you're going to be eating things, especially tomatoes. A lot of people come in, I've got green fly in my tomatoes, and you're eating them at that time, and the best thing is to cut a lot of the leaves back and just get rid of the problem and you know, pick your tomatoes and then give them a good clean up and just keep a lot of the leaves off them.
So are these sorts of bugs and diseases in plants easy to spot?
To us it is, but some people don't see it until it's too late. We quite often get customers bringing in plants that are just infested and are past really saving, but if you keep a close eye on plants every day, you can sort of see if they're looking a little bit stressed. Sometimes they're a little bit limp, especially green fly in carrots at this time of year, and the plants that have a little white speck, that's the molting, the insects molt and leave their skins behind, and you can just one spray and you see all the bugs lying on the ground. It's, you know, it's just got to be vigilant. It's just like anything.
So if someone's got plants at home and they're not quite sure what's wrong with them, there might be a bug or some sort of disease in them, can they bring them into Dyax and you guys will help decide what's wrong with them?
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, things are quite common, and we all have our own gardens, and when we get these problems and we think, well, everybody else must be too, so we all know to look out for them and what time of the year and certain things occur.
What are some tips for viewers on how to get the most out of their plants when they're planting them?
Probably watering is a big thing at this time of year, keeping them well maintained, keep the bugs off them, keep the water on them. It's just like children, you've got to look at them every day and see what they need.
And if you have a gardening question for Dyax, you can go in and see them at 628 Tweed Street in Macargill, 849 North Road in Lawnville. You can call them 03 216 8265 or find them online at www.dyax.co.nz.